Right, hi guys, today we're doing a Shoreline key guide. Shoreline is by far one of the best maps for making money on, plus you need so many of the rooms in the resort for several tasks from a couple of the different merchants. So it's very handy to be able to know where to find these keys, keep an eye out for them as you level up, as you just do your raids normally, because the more of these keys you find, the better. I would recommend at the beginning of the patch flooding Interchange. Interchange by far has the best loose loot, like freely available loot on any of the maps outside of labs. But once you start finding keys or having enough money to buy keys for Shoreline, it rapidly gets overtaken by Shoreline itself, because Resort, Pier, Villa, Weather Station, they all just add up to so much money. So we're now going to get into Shoreline, and we're going to go start with our first key. So our first key is West 112, also called San 112, and it's found here at the bus stop on Shoreline. It's a quite tricky one to get to because it's in a nice big open area. We have snipers who like to sit up on the roof up there. And we also have scavs that like to sit here, there, one outside the door here, normally one patrolling between the gateway and the cars over there, one in the far corner over here, and sometimes one there. The key itself is in here on this seat, right where my bullet hole is. You need that one for a task. It is also a blue keycard spawn room. So, on to the next key. Okay, for our next key, we are here in the village, which is on the tunnel side of Shoreline. And there is two keys in this location right next to each other, so we're going to check them both. The first one is in here. This is West 203. Not much of a loot room, but it's still worth picking up anyway, just for shits and giggles. It spawns on this chair right here on the corner. Worth about 60 to 80k, depending on what the market's like. But also in this house, which is more worth picking up than the key, is in here. This is a rare electrical spawn. You can find anything from graphics cards and Tetrises down to crap like this. It's also worth noting that it doesn't just spawn in the tray there, it also has a chance to spawn on this shelf inside the cupboard below. So it's well worth checking out. The next key over here is the cottage safe key. This is for the locked house at the two villas. There is a safe inside that is locked, and it spawns, the key for it spawns on this chair right here. Right there. Okay, moving on to our next key. Okay, so our next key is West 205. This isn't much of a loot room. There is a couple of med bags and stuff in there, a weapon case on the balcony that links the two rooms, but it's still a decent key to have. You can top up on your meds and bits and pieces like that. It's not the most profitable key, but it's alright. We're down here on the pier again, so once you've navigated down the ramp past the sniper outlook over there, fought your way through the scavs, you want to come into the main pier building itself, and it spawns loose just on the floor right there. Just about there. So, nice easy key to pick up. It's actually surprisingly common for a rare key, so you should have that in your collection fairly soon. Moving on to our next key. Okay, so our next key is West 216. Very profitable room. There's a bit of rare loot in there, there's some mods, there's some all sorts of nice bits and pieces. It's in admin again, and you find it in here on the corner of this desk, right there. Right there. Nice and easy to find. Doesn't spawn that often, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Good key to have. Okay, our next key is West 218. Very valuable key as it opens the triple room that has the red keycard spawn in it, as well as some decent loot, both in weapons crates and some meds. We're in the admin building, we're coming into the pool table side of the upstairs, and it spawns just in here on this shelf right there. So, this key we're looking for is West 219. It is also down here on the pier. The pier is a very risky one to get to, as you've got to come across this sandbar to get to it. And what we're looking for is up here in the lighthouse. Lighthouse is a very common scav exfil, so it's easy to check while you're scavving in. You need 219 not only for the okay loot you get from it, but it is also a task key. One of Peacekeeper's tasks is to discover where the generators are stored in Resort, and they are in 219 of both wings. You used to be able to get this task completed from the balcony of 220, but they seem to have patched that out, so now you actually do need 219 to be able to complete this task. So it spawns on the corner of this box right there. It's a very, very uncommon spawn chance, so this is a bit of a roadblock when it comes to tasking with Peacekeeper, unfortunately. Hopefully they'll realise that and increase the spawn, making it a bit easier for people to progress with their tasks. But that is West 219. On to the next. Okay, so our next key is actually the most expensive key out of the lot of them. It is West 220, and it's found here at Villa. There is normally 3 scavs that patrol the area, normally 2 that come around the front and 1 around the back. There's sometimes a 4th that is right at the back by the aptly named Suicide Fields. And the key we're after is inside the left-hand villa, which is main villa, the unlocked one. You want to head on inside, and it is all the way through at the back. The key spawns in the key rack. In fact, it is actually here. Shame this is offline because I don't get to keep it. That would have been a nice little boost, or I'd have given it away on one of our daily giveaways on our stream. So this little key here opens undoubtedly the best loot room on the west wing of Resort out of the lot of them. There is treasure room, there is treasure spawns, there is free weapon cases, there's plenty of meds, there's loose ammo. It is a fantastic room. You can easily get out of that room with a good 200 to 300k's worth of loot from it. Okay, we're moving on to our next key. What a lovely day it is to be on the beach. We are not here to sunbathe though, we are here for a very expensive key worth approximately 450 to 500,000 rubles, because it unlocks one of the free linked rooms that has the red keycard spawn in it. And this is the one that actually has the keycard itself in, so it's the quickest to access if you are just in and out looking for the key. This is West 221. And it spawns on this deck chair here, on this corner, right where I've just shot. Very, very good key. That room not only has the red keycard spawn, it also has several weapon cases and weapon lockers. There is med bags and normally a good selection of ammo lying around, which is fantastic for early patch. Sometimes you get a bit of BS, which is really nice, but it's mostly BT and PS that you find in there. But it is a very, very good loot room to have, as it also has meds, weapons, ammo, as well as the rare keycard. There is also a RSAS spawn on the boxes in one of the bathrooms. So, very, very, very lucrative key. Okay, so our next key spawns down near the tunnel extract side of Shoreline. It is a pretty decent loot key. There is rare treasure items, there's computers in there to loot, there is also meds that spawn in there, and a weapon crate, and a chance for a SV98 sniper rifle to spawn on the bed. While coming to check this key, you want to be careful of the people who like to exfil camp. They like to sit up on this ridge up here. And the key itself is inside this bus. It is West 301, and it spawns on this seat right here. Very good little room. I found several Tetrises in there recently myself. Okay, moving on to our next key. Okay, so our next key is found here on Factory, and you want to head into the 3-story side, and on the second floor, in the bathrooms, you want to come into the locker side of the bathrooms, and the key spawns on this shelf right here in this locker. You're looking at West 306 here. It is not a great loot room. You do get a few odd meds, but it is a room you need for a task where you have to collect a folder. So you need this key regardless of whether you want to use it for loot. But I wouldn't keep it in a normal like money run routine sort of thing. It's not really worth it. Okay, so moving on to our next key. So our next key is the cottage backdoor key, and it spawns actually right outside the back door of the cottage. It is on these barrels. Spawns roughly about there, and it lets you into this door right here. It is worthwhile going in there whether you have the cottage safe key as well, because there is another safe in there as well as some duffels. It's alright for loose loot before heading up to resort. But if you have the safe key as well, that makes it extra worth, as that means there's 2 safes in there. So that's 2 chances at rare loot in the safes. Buffed safes, by the way, as you come away with like 400 rubles from looting all of them in this area. So moving on to our next key. Okay, so this one is actually a double key spawn. There's 2 keys in this location, so I may as well cover them both at the same point. The first of the 2 keys is East 104. While it doesn't have much in it normally, it does have a chance to spawn the blue keycard for labs, and it does have the odd sailor and morphine pack in there. So it is very, very much worth having just purely for the blue labs keycard spawn. You'll find the 104 in here on this shelf right here. The other key is located in the main building itself. You can either go in through the front door and come through to here where it spawns on the corner of this chair. We are looking at East 222 right here. This is commonly known as Medroom in East Wing, and has a plethora of meds, a couple of rare spawns. I've seen all sorts of stuff including Tetrises, clocks, Sheriff Eli badges, Rolexes, that sort of stuff in there. And it also has ophthalmoscopes, that sort of stuff. Really, really, really good key to have. One of the best keys for East Wing. The other way you can check for it is that you can see the chair from this window around this side of the building. So save you going in and getting yourself caught in the choke point of this door here. You can have a good old peek at it through this window while in cover from both Sniper Hill up here and the main compound. Because players do tend to approach from this hill and tend to loiter up there if they've spawned on custom side. Okay, moving on to the next key. Okay, so the last of the keys to be found here in admin is East 107. It's not a very valuable key. There's not much in there, you don't need it for a task or anything, but there are a few loose meds. And it spawns on this chair right here. Maybe this one. One of these 2. It spawns here. This general vicinity here. We'll just call it that. Okay, moving on. Okay, so our next key is East 205. Very good room. Has very nice loot in there, including rare loot, weapon boxes, a med bag, all sorts of tasty bits. It's a double room with 206, and it is very worth having. The location for it is out the back of Resort. That's admin right there. You want to come down to the concrete overpass over the river. Taking care for Sniper Scav who likes to sit up there. And it spawns on this cardboard box right there. Right where my bullet hole is. It's a very, very good key to have. High money to be made out of it. And this is also a good spot to have a cheeky scope out to see whether rock passage is up, which you can see from here. And it is, because you can see the green smoke. Sometimes it's not as visible as this is from here. So it's a good little vantage spot to hop up on if you have a scope to look over there. Okay, moving on to our next key. Right, we're back at the beach again. Our next key is the partner key to East 205, which is 206. They are joined rooms, both open, give you the same access. The key itself is in the back of this SUV on the ramp from gas station down to the pier area itself. This is quite a risky key to try and fetch because you've got a sniper nest up there. People like to sit on this hill. You're nice and in the open. There's normally 2 or 3 scavs up in gas. One likes to sit right here on the crossroads. Normally a scav on the beach. And then you normally have a small army of scavs right down here on the pier itself. You can have up to 5 scavs down here, depending on how generous Tarkov's scav spawn has been for you that day. But it is a very worthwhile key. It has weapon crates, med cases, and rare treasure items that spawn in there as well. So a very, very profitable key to have, but if you have the other one, the East 205, you do not need this one as well, because they're both joined. Both joined, both equally handy. Okay, so we're out here on Scav Island for a double key spawn. And unfortunately, they're both in the same place. It's a very, very rare key spawn out here, but it does happen. We are out here on Scav Island. You get out here by crossing this great big metal boat that has got himself wedged between the island and the shore. And what you're looking for is this table over here with the outboard motor on it. Now both key 328 for East obviously spawns here because it's just spawned for us. But I've also been told, and it's on the wiki, that East 226, which is also Medroom for East Wing, also spawns here in the exact same location. East 226 is partnered with East 222. They're both joined rooms, but 226 is worth slightly less, I should say, than 222, as that gets you into the med side, not the rare loot side. So if you are looking for a quicker clear out of that room, then that's why you would go for 222 over 226. But they're both linked anyway. You just go out on the balcony and round and you can get into both rooms, so that in my mind they're both equally as worth as each other. But that is where it spawns, obviously. Okay, moving on to our next key. Okay, so the second location for East 226 is in East Wing itself. We're going to head in, up the stairs. This is the stairs above the right wing gym extract for scavs. It's the stairs closest to the bridge. And what we're looking for is in here. Very handy little spot. It's not only spawns East 226, but on the floor down here spawns the storage room for the far end of East, which links to East 328. Just be careful of this one because you can actually be seen all the way in there from down the bridge if someone's got a decent scope. So don't look for this one unless you know that the bridge is clear. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the first of the two keys we're here on customs for is East 306, and you find that here in the red building on the customs office side of the map, and you will need the customs office key to get up into the room where it spawns. 306 itself is an alright room. It's got about 6 computers in there, which is great if you're looking for the barter items or graphics cards for the Ujima flip. Task at the beginning. It is in the breach room at the end, and it spawns on the table just about here where my flashlight is pointing. In fact, I can do one better and get the laser on. It spawns just about here. So that is East 306. Okay, so for our next key, we're here in Woods at the lumber mill, and we're looking at East 308, which is just over here in the cabin closest to the pickup truck over here. Let yourself in, and oh, it's actually spawned. There we go. East 308 spawns right here. Lovely. Moving on to our next key. Okay, so our next key that we're looking for here on customs is East 310. There's actually 2 spawns for this key on this map, and they can actually spawn both in the same raid. Just because one hasn't spawned doesn't mean the other doesn't. They're not linked in any way. There's just a chance of at least one of these 2 keys spawning in this raid. The first one is here in the trailer park, right next to the big red barn on custom sides of customs, and it is in this bus on the seat just here. Spawns just there. The other one is the other side of the storage units over here, so we're going to head over there now. Okay, the second spawn for this key is over by the Crossroads exfil. This is Crossroads exfil. Why can't I jump? There we go. And it is actually on the driver's seat of this van right here. It likes to spawn just about here, where the bullet hole is. These, remember, can both spawn in the same raid. It's very rare that you will find these towards the end of a raid, as there is player spawn literally right here and right down there in the corner over that way. In fact, if you are in my Discord, you'll be able to see a very, very, well, I would say mean clip of me having spawned right there over in that corner, and as a guy is looting this crate, I managed to headshot him. It was one hell of a shot. I'm proud of it, and also not proud because it was also very, very, very mean. We were literally 2 seconds in. Okay, moving on to our next key. Okay, so for this key we're here on Woods. We are at the checkpoint. Over in that direction you have the scav house and outskirts exfil, and over there you have the lumber mill. We are interested in this little shack here, because on this little table, just about there, spawns East, which one is it? East 314. East 314. It's actually a very good loot room. It's got several weapon cases in there and some loose med spawns. Very worthwhile. It's linked with 313, which is a key you cannot find anywhere on the map. You only find them in pockets and bags of scavs. Okay. Okay, so that concludes our Shoreline Resort key guide. Now I will do the same warning I gave you at the end of the lab key guide, is that do not just go key running. It is not worth it, it's a waste of your time, you'll just get frustrated when they don't spawn and you'll just waste whatever gear you take in, blah blah blah, not worth it. The reason behind these guides is that I want to let you guys know where these keys spawn, so should you be passing through the process of doing your tasks, just running a normal raid, whatever, you know to look so you have a chance to find them, which increases the amount of loot or your ability to do other tasks in the future as you're going along. You should never make key running your sole purpose of a raid. The moment you do that is the moment you start wasting time in this game, and time is something you need to invest wisely in this game because there is just so much to learn. So the only time I will condone key running is if you need it for a task and they're ridiculously expensive. Like, for example, if you need 219 West for the generator task, that is a really rare key which makes it very expensive, so specifically checking for that key is worth it because that allows you to progress with Peacekeeper's task chain. But that is pretty much the only example I can see. It just irritates other players when you find a dead hatchling in front of the 220 key spawn in Villa and things like that. That is kind of scummy behaviour. But anyway, I hope you find this guide really helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys post in my Discord with your massive loot hauls from all your looting of Shoreline after having used my guide to find these keys to let you into the room to get all those goodies. So I will see you all in the next video, and I hope to see you in the channel sometime soon.